Hi guys, thank you for tuning in and listening to my video. I hope this will be very informative for you, just like other people's videos were very informative to me. So my name is Tamaya. I just recently took my NCLEX RN and I passed on my first try in 75 questions. I did not think it was possible when I was in nursing school, but I did it. And I'm just so happy that I have completed it. And I know how hard it was during the studying phase. So that's why I want to share with nursing students or any future nursing students or whatever on my process and the steps that I took to pass my NCLEX in 75 questions. Okay. So originally I started December. Okay, so December the 16th, I actually finished school and I got my authorization to test my ATT maybe like a week after that. It went really quick. I got it right before Christmas break and I was so surprised because people say it could take weeks, so it can take weeks. So if you feel like yours is taking a long time, I know it's possible, but I was just one of the ones who got lucky. So don't let that stress you out. Anything is going to stress you out and try to stress you out. Don't let that be something that stress you out. It's small, just while you're waiting on that authorization to test though, I do recommend that you still study, because as soon as you get it, you can go and study. Like if you've been studying for a month, you can go and take your test maybe the next week, just because you're prepared already, So, but once I got my authorization to test, I looked at the schedules, I saw what was available, and I knew I didn't want to wait too long, but I didn't want to go too soon. So I did my 6 weeks out. It was a lot of the days that was already backed up for January. So really, my only option was to do it at the end of January, but I ended up doing it at the beginning of February. So I got lucky with that. So yeah, I made my date first. That's the first thing, because I knew I would procrastinate if I didn't pick a date and I just study. You're never going to feel like you're prepared. So that's why I recommend choosing a date first. So then I got me a board. I went to Office Depot or whatever, and I got me a board, and I wrote on it. I wrote my schedule that I thought that would work good for me. I wrote how many questions I'm going to do, what days I'm going to do my laundry, what days I'm going to clean up, what days I'm going to spend time with my family. I broke everything down for my life in a 6-week period. That's what I did my life for a 6-week period. And I made myself study for hours and hours throughout the day. I took a couple hour breaks because I have a husband and I have children. So I know I still have to have that balance, but I went off that schedule. And although I feel like it was a good schedule, I really didn't follow it. I thought that it's something that I would follow, but I really didn't follow it. I really just did what was best for me day to day, but I made sure I got my hours in with studying. So after I did my board, I was in my personal office or whatever like that. I'll make sure I wake up in the morning to get my scheduling in and make sure I eat and stuff like that first before I do any type of studying, because I know you can get very, very overwhelmed. So I use 2 primary sources. I use Mark, and I decided to use UWorld. And I went with Mark because I hear a lot of great things about him. And I went with UWorld because I hear a lot of great things about UWorld. I do hear about Kaplan, I hear about Archer, but those is what I hear all the time. So in my heart, I'm like, I'm just going to go follow it and see if that's, something that could work out for me. And obviously, I was one of the lucky ones, and it did. So first, let me tell you, you guys, how I thought I was about to get down. I thought that I was about to use this book and teach myself the whole nursing program over again. I started from page 1. And I started taking notes and I started reading. Like, be for real. 6 weeks, you think that you can learn this whole book and remember everything? And still you're going to be stressed out. And you still got other stuff to do. And I'm still trying to do questions, and I'm still trying to listen to Mark. Be realistic. No, it didn't work out for me. It might work out for you, but for me, it did not work out like that. No. So they do have a lot of practice questions and stuff like that in here that might be useful for you to practice on. Or if you want to go back and try to learn everything, I mean, we know a lot of stuff. We know more than what we think we know. So a lot of stuff is going to be a refresher. Once we see it again, we like, oh yeah, that's it. We probably cannot name it right off the bat, but I'm pretty sure once we see it, we'll be like, oh yeah, this go with this. So you don't need to do all of this, my opinion, but that's just me. I also had the opportunity to do these ATIs. I have like 9 or 10 books with these. I also have the ATI. I had the questions for doing my assessments and a virtual instructor and stuff like that. ATI did not work out for me. I used it during school, and I feel like ATI was really hard. Like, I don't think that was a good thing for me, but that's my personal preference. I didn't really like it. So I just went with Mark, and I did UWorld. So let me tell you guys what I did for Mark. So I want you guys to see, because I was stressed out. Even when I was in nursing school, how hard nursing school was, I was like, when I get to this NCLEX, I'm going to forget all of this stuff and I'm not going to know anything. So I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to even pass this NCLEX, because I'm not a good test taker. And this is why I highly recommend using UWorld and Mark both, because I'm not a great test taker at all. I overthink. I don't go with my gut. And when I use Mark and I listen to him, and like, he really helped me a lot, like being firm on what I know. So let me just show you guys how I use Mark. Please don't mind my pages, because I was using this for 6 weeks. I slept with this thing. I did everything with this, okay? It was in my kitchen when I could, you know. So just don't mind my paper. But I printed out his lecture. I got it online, and if anyone need it, just comment below and I can send it to you in the email. Just make sure you comment your email and I can send it to you, because I still have it. So I printed these out, and when I listen to his lecture, I will follow along, just so it can get stuck inside of my head. I did everything, every single one of them. I can tell you every one of his lectures word from word right now, like, and especially priority and delegations, which is the last lecture, lecture 12, because that's what the NCLEX focus on: safety and delegations and priority and stuff like that. And he teach you how to guess, because on the NCLEX, I promise you're gonna feel like you're guessing a lot. So I will use Mark while I'm like driving in my car, or making something to eat, or sometimes when I'm cleaning up, I will have it on my big TV and I would just be playing it, listen to him. But I feel like he really helped me a lot. He helped me with my priorities a lot. And I was horrible in OB, and I feel like I know so much stuff with OB now. And Mark breaks everything down in simpler terms. And in nursing school, it was so hard. I feel like it was so hard. But how he explained it, it seemed so simple. And I feel like, was I just being slow in school, or was it really hard? And I think they make it harder than what it is, because when he broke it down for you, it's like, it's so simple. Because when I was answering UWorld questions, it was like, once I listened to Mark and I did UWorld, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting these right. I didn't think that I was that smart, but actually I am. It paid off for me. So after I would do Mark, I would go to UWorld. I would listen to Mark. Let me not leave this out, because you guys, I was a person who used flashcards in nursing school. These are Mark lectures. I wrote every single lecture down, word from word. And I remember them. Some of them got front to back, but I had to make sure that I remember everything he was saying, because the information is very vital. I'm telling you, it's really vital. So I wrote all of this down, and I was quizzing myself. I had my husband quizzing me, whatever. When I was at the nail shop, I was using it. When I was getting my hair done, I was using it. Whenever I pull these out, instead of walking around with that paper, I was using these, okay? Okay, so my two main resources was Mark and UWorld. I did bounce over to Archer, and I didn't use Archer for practice questions at all. That was not something that I did. because I didn't want to confuse myself, because I know archer, some of the things that they have in there was like fill in the blanks and stuff, and I'm like, UWorld didn't have that at all. And I'm not being biased towards archer or whatever you're using, captain or whatever, because use anything with practice questions. But I started out with UWorld, so I just was going to stick it out with UWorld because I was so used to it. And then I went to archer and I seen it and I didn't like it, and I'm like, I cannot do that. So I highly recommend just sticking to your 2 primary resources. Whatever you're going to use, stick to 2. Just stick to your 2 resources, whatever you're going to use, or just 1, whatever you feel like is comfortable for you. Just stick to it. Don't try to switch anything, especially not in the middle. So when I did my archer, I primarily used it for assessments only, because UWorld, I told you guys that I purchased that one assessment, and it was like, I purchased 60 days, 1 assessment, and it covered 2,000 something questions or whatever like that. So after I did my 1 assessment with UWorld, I had no other assessments. So I'm like, okay, I need archer. And archer was cheap at the moment, and I was going to do anything I could to pass this test. So I didn't care how much money I spent. I would have spent $1,000 on preparation myself if it was like, if I had to, because like I said, I was scared. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. This was my first time. I'm just getting out of nursing school, and I felt like I was a bad test taker. So it was something that was very good to experience. So like I said, I did our archer's assessments as many as I can. I probably did like 8 or 9, not too many, because I didn't need to, but I was getting low scores on all of my archers. And then I started getting borderline, but I didn't let it affect me, because like I said, I was skipping some of the questions because they was filling the blanks, and I'm just like, I'm not even going to try that, because in NCLEX you don't have to fill in the blanks, so I'm not even going to do fill in the blanks. I never had to do fill in the blanks while I was in school, so that's just not what I was going to do. Now with UWorld, UWorld is really, 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 really good. Once you get that feel of taking those questions, you have to do practice questions. Practice questions is really recommended, because practice questions is going to teach you how to take a test. And that's what you have to know how to do when you take the NCLEX. You have to know how to take a test. You cannot know anything that this question is asking you. You don't know this big old word that they asking you or whatever, but if you know how to take a test, you know how to eliminate things, you know how to group things together. It makes sense once you start getting used to practice questions, okay? And once you start seeing a lot of things, so when it pop up, it's familiar to you. Stuff that I didn't even think that I knew for UWorld. Now that I knew how to take a test and was more comfortable with it, I was getting it right. I was like, oh shit, like I felt smart. I felt so smart, and I'm like, damn, you smart, girl. So yeah, I highly recommend practice questions. It don't matter which resource you use. Like I said, I'm not being biased to no other sources, but like I said, I use UWorld, and I really feel like it was really useful, because you could break it up into categories, whatever section you want. So if for instance you want just priority and delegations, you can do just priority and delegations. You can do 75 questions on that. You could do, so that was really, really helpful with that. So when I did, for my UWorld, I had a low chance of passing when I went to take my boards. I did not let that discourage me. I promise you guys. So listen, if you don't get nothing out of this video or whatever, just get this. Do not, I repeat, do not, please do not, please do not, please do not. I'm just gonna keep repeating it. Please do not let UWorld define your confidence in this test. Do not let UWorld define your confidence in this test. Please do not let UWorld define your confidence in this test, because I was one of the ones that was getting low chances of passing, and I was comparing them to other students that was in my cohort, and they was like, oh yeah, I'm getting high, I'm getting 60s, 70s, 80s, and I'm like, damn, I'm getting 50s and 60s and 40s, and I got a low chance of passing. Everybody said they had a high chance of passing, but they still wasn't confident, and I'm like, if I had a high chance of passing, I'd be so happy. Like, I'd be, but like I said, I got a low chance of passing. My overall score was like 49 or 50%, I want to say, when I went in to take my exam. And like I said, I still was confident about this test. Like, I knew the material, but I knew that the practice questions wasn't boards. I think that's what it was. I knew it wasn't boards, so I played around with it. Like, I'd be like, okay, I know this right, but I know this right. It could be this, so, but I'm just gonna go with this. And I'd be like, fuck. I knew it was the other one, but I just picked that one just because I'm just not going with my gut. And That's what you gotta do. That's how Mark teach you a lot too. Cause like you gotta go with your gut with these tests. Go, cause you 9 times out of 10 you know it. You just scared and you overthinking. Okay. So like I said, I got a really low chance of passing 1 week before my exam. Then I decided that I wanted to take a archer, like a cat, the night before my exam. I got borderline of passing. I didn't get a low chance. No, wait. I failed. I failed my cat. I failed my cat the day before I tested. And I was like, why did I go and do something crazy like that? But I did not, like I said, I did not let that define me. I was still confident walking into that room. I swear, you guys. I don't know what got into me, but I was confident this whole time while I was taking the test. Now one time did I ever say I wasn't gonna pass. I was always confident. But like I said, for UWorld, I did about 75 to 100 questions a day. Like, yeah, I'm gonna say between 75 and 100, whatever I felt like doing during the day. Like, cause like sometimes I would break it up. I would do 30 here, 20 there, 20 here, 20 there. Whatever I feel like doing. I sometimes did 10. Like whatever is more comfortable for me, that's what I do. Cause like I said, I was doing them before I woke up or right before I went to sleep or whatever like that. Just making sure I get questions in, and I was reading them, and I was writing down. For UWorld, I wrote down my rationales. Now, I did not focus on rationales like everybody say, like focus on the rationales. Because, I mean, I feel like once I wrote it down, I didn't write them down for every single test. I mean, for every single answer that I got right or wrong. Like I said, I read it, I understood what I got it wrong, and I kept it moving. Like I said, this is UWorld is teaching you how to take a test. So once you understand why you got it wrong, you don't have to keep on reading these rationales, because you could go answer a test, like I said, sometimes without even knowing what is the question even really is, what they want out of the question for real. So, or not, I'm sorry, not knowing what they want out of the question, not knowing what it is that they're talking about, but you could see what they're asking for. So, like I said, I wrote down my rationales. Like I said, I did not spend a lot of time. Like, once I wrote them down, I feel like they'll be in my mind again. And when I see it again, I would know it. And even if I didn't know it again, like I said, it'll come up. So, I wrote them down anyway. And I wrote down a lot. I had like two pages. I mean, two books worth. And I never looked over them again. I just wrote them down, like I said. And then after I did my rationales and stuff like that, I would still go and answer questions from the ones that I got incorrect. I would group them up. That's when I would group them up into like priority and delegations and stuff like that. Because I would just go answer my priority and delegation questions, and I would go answer like 20 of those, 30 of those, because I knew that everybody say that NCLEX takes priority. Because NCLEX tests safety. They want to know, are you safe enough to practice? So you need to know, who can you delegate to? What would you do in this situation, or stuff like that? So you need to have those priority questions down pat. And I had to understand, why was I getting them wrong? That was very, very key for me, because I wasn't doing good in my priority questions. And I'm like, why? I'm listening to Mark, why? But like I said, knowing how to take a test and guessing, because in school the whole time I learned ABCs. ABCs did not work for me all of the time when I was taking those priority questions. And I'm like, how is it not working? Like it was confusing. But once I understood and I saw how this test, the pattern was when I was doing UWorld and listening to Mark, now I gotta feel like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense why it wouldn't work in this situation. So like I said, knowing how to take a test, knowing how to group things together, knowing how to eliminate things, that's high key. And what else? Like I said, those are my two main sources. I really think that they helped a lot. Stick with your two main sources, or whatever source that you're using. Don't keep changing them up. What else did I do? But as far as NCLEX, the day of my NCLEX, so Mark said don't expect a perfect day, and that is something that, like, really, don't expect a perfect day. And I thought that he was just saying it like that because the day that I was supposed to test, it was supposed to be a big snowstorm. So I'm like, they might cancel it. If they cancel it, it ain't no more dates. When I got there, something was wrong with parking. And I only had 10 minutes left to get up into the building and get to where I had to go. So I'm like, oh, now I'm about to be late. So they really not going to let me test you. And then what else happened? I sat in the waiting room for a whole hour because I changed my maiden name to my marriage name. And I didn't have the ID with my current marriage name, so I had to bring in like extra documents and stuff like that. I already had called and they gave me the yes that I can do it and stuff, but the people at the location wasn't for sure. So we was going through this process for an hour. I saw people coming out, already finished the test, and I'm just like, oh my God. But I still stayed calm and I was confident through the whole time. And I think, you know why I remain confident? Because I never told myself if I fail or like, oh, this is gonna happen if I fail, or what if I don't fail? I never put that into my brain. I never ever said if I don't fail or nothing about failing. I always said when I pass. I speak things into existence. I do believe the tongue is very powerful. So you guys delete that out your vocabulary. Do not have fail in your vocabulary. Always thinking about passing. Don't ever thinking about failing this exam. Think about passing all the time. Just be confident, like I said. And if you getting those low UWorld scores, like I said, do not pay attention to those scores. Just understand why you got that question wrong. Learn how to take that test. Keep doing practice questions. I did all of my questions. It didn't break my confidence. No matter what was my score before I went into that test, I was still confident. Whatever got in me, I'm so glad it was in me. I prayed before my exam. When I was about to get ready to click that button, I said a quick little prayer, and the higher power looked out for me. And I'm so blessed. But even if you're not a good test taker, do your best to stay calm and go with your gut, because that's something that you just have to master. So like I said, with the perfect day and stuff like that, so overall my day after that, I ended up getting a test. It took me like 1 hour to test. They didn't release my information, like the quick results or the good pop-up as quickly as everyone else, because my results was on hold. They had to do some type of stuff with my name and make sure it was me and stuff like that. So I was on hold, so I was kind of freaking out. But I had 75 questions. I did not take a break. You could take of course, utilize your breaks. If I was to give advice, I would say everybody take a break. But I'm not the type of person that needs a break. I need to be one and done. I need to get this over with. I was too anxious. The next generation questions had ended up popping up after it cut off at 75, and I was like, nope, I gotta go. Like I just gotta finish. I told myself that if I didn't pass during this, because not if I didn't pass. I'm sorry, because I said delete that out your vocabulary. I said, if it don't stop at 75 questions, that I was going to take a break. So, and it stopped at 75 questions, so I got lucky. Like I said, break if you want to. Do whatever is best for you. Don't listen to nobody else. And you know another thing that I didn't tell nobody my date to test. I really feel like people intentions is not good. Everybody is not happy as for you as you may seem. It might be the person closest to you, whatever. I did tell a few people, like I didn't even tell like my mom and stuff like that, because I feel like I didn't want to have to deal with people knowing my date and everybody texting me like, oh, when good luck and all of this and all of that. And then say for instance that I didn't pass, even though I didn't think like that. Say for instance that I didn't pass. Now I gotta worry about all of these people like coming out of me like, did you take your test? Did you pass? And if I failed, I would have been so embarrassed. So you don't want to have all that worry. You don't want to have multiple things that you're worried about while you're going to go take this test, because that's the least of your worry. What other people think is the least of your worries. So I didn't tell a lot of people. I didn't tell anybody about my test date. I just told them that I was taking it. Nobody knew when I was taking it. They just knew that I was taking it soon. I always said, oh, this week, next week. And I ended up, maybe I pushed it back a couple of days too, like, because I just felt like I was more ready with when I ended up pushing it back. And also when I went in there, I just want to share this with you guys. My kids and my husband decided to leave me good luck notes. my son and my daughter and my husband, they all left me good luck notes. And I had these in my pocket when I went to go test. I put them in my coat pocket and I just hung them up in the lockers because I feel like that was something that was very special for me, and that was part of the reasons why I passed too. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope this helped anybody that is taking a test soon. I'm open for any questions. I do have like books and stuff like that. If anybody needs some books, I'm willing to donate them. Just drop in, like, you can put your email below or whatever like that, and we can email and I can send them to you, or send them from PO Box or whatever like that. I really hope that this video was useful, like I said. And good luck to anybody out there that's taking their exam. I will be posting more about myself soon. I just accepted a position inside of the ER, so I do want to update you guys on my journey as an ER nurse, because I was surprised that I landed this role. I'm only 23 years old and I'm an RN, so I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm just hopping off the porch. So like, this is something that's gonna be interesting for me. So I do want to update you guys on that, and I really hope this video helped a lot. So if it did, just like and subscribe to my channel, because you will be seeing more of me. Okay, so thank you.